All right.
Sure you're ready for this?
Let's go.
What is up, everybody? Long time no see. I got a good friend of mine here with me who's actually going to be my new co-host on my channel. This is Eddie Shaheen. Say hi, Eddie.
How's it going, YouTube world?
This is Eddie's first time on YouTube on an actual video or live stream, whatever you want to say. So,
Yes, it is.
So what's up, Eddie?
Well, I'm just pretty excited about talking about this. We've got to experience some neat things in the last month. We went up to North Carolina and helped move some giant tanks into this wonderful fish gallery for these wonderful people. I don't know if anybody knows John and Lisa from KG Tropical.
Nah, nobody knows. Nobody knows them people. If you don't know them, there might be something slightly wrong with you. But no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we got a nice crowd in here so far. So yeah, so we went up to North Carolina. We helped out John and Lisa. That was an awesome weekend.
Yes, indeed.
That was your first time meeting them. I mean, honestly, like personally, I've never met a nicer bunch of people. I mean, everything from them down to their kids, like all of them are just like some of the coolest people I've ever met.
That's definitely the truth. They were some wonderful folks.
Like I've never met an entire group of strangers and felt like I've known them my whole life. Then there was that other guy there. What was his name? Lips World?
Yeah. The Sasquatch.
I think he's in the chat too.
Yeah, most definitely. I saw Whips World pop up a second ago.
He's actually my mod. So he's gonna keep all the trolley trolls away.
Oh, nice. He's always working hard. That was one of the
probably not as hard in my streams as in other people's, but
yeah. I don't know anybody else that wanted to do an 8-mile walk before we went and moved all those giant fish tanks.
True. I mean, I wish I had that kind of ambition and determination, but I get out of breath going up a flight of stairs at work. So
that's the truth. Just using the ladder at my job, right? And that's only 3 steps to go to the top row of the fish tanks.
All right, Eddie. So, like, I know you. Like, I've known you for a while, but none of these people really know you. So, let's get some background. Like, how long have you been keeping fish, and what are you keeping right now?
All right. So, long-term keeping fish, I'd say I had my first tank that I can clearly remember was like 1994. Had some goldfish, 55-gallon tank. Pretty cool. Did that as a young child and then kind of phased out of it a little bit. Then I'd say around 2002 or so, I jumped back on. So about 20 years ago, I got back in pretty good. And I started out with some South Americans, but I didn't really find the interest in them because I was still looking for something different. And I found African cichlids, and I jumped in those extremely, bred some for a little while, had I think 14 grow out tanks plus the 110 and 255s that were just packed full, and eventually upgraded that stuff to 75-gallon tanks with the same thing, mostly peacocks and haps, and had to step it up to a 125. Had about 80 fish in there, a little excessive, a lot of filtration. In the last couple of years, though, I've kind of expanded myself. Started playing with some other things and also some larger things. We've got a 280-gallon tank with some large peacock bass, and got a clown knife and a tiger shovel nose in there. Got a big community tank of some Oscars in a tank, 150 pounds.
You've actually got two of my previous Oscars in there too.
Yeah, 2 of your old lemons, yes sir. Pretty awesome tank there. Got a 45-gallon tank by Fluval. It's got a breeding pair of green terrors. And then if you see the tank behind me, this is a 175-gallon bow front. I've got a couple discus going in there, a group of Congo tetras, a bunch of, excuse me, a bunch of Bosmanis, rainbows, and a bunch of turquoise rainbows. Also got some glow Danios, and I believe there's still a few Harlequin Resplores. So that's most of what I'm keeping now. There's another 72-gallon bow front. Eric gave me 7 Severums, and then I had one other one. So there's 8 Severums and 3 blood parrots in the 72-gallon bow front. And I've got 4 clown loaches ranging anywhere between 6 inches to about 3 inches in that tank.
Keep going. Don't mind me. I'm not being rude looking at my phone. I've got somebody in here that I have to make a mod. Oh.
Most definitely. So we're going to see another one that I got running is there's the 45-gallon half hex. It's a really neat tank. I've got some baby blood parrots in it. Somebody rehomed a flower horn to me, a very, very small one. So I'm trying to grow it out. And then got a 60-gallon bow front. I mean, a 60-gallon cube. I apologize. That I'm wanting to make into my first extreme saltwater tank. Haven't really ventured into one of those yet. Mostly all freshwater fish. At one point in time, I did have a predator saltwater tank, but it didn't pan out. I had somebody more interested than I was at the time.
Yeah, saltwater and me are like Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield. I love it, but it doesn't love me, and I'm about ready to bite its ear off.
Right.
I got Zen, Miss Zen Ginger. You are a mod, by the way, whether you wanted to be or not. And
so
Zen Ginger, she's got a question for you.
Yeah, that's a 175-gallon bow front. It's a pretty extreme tank.
Yeah, that tank's beautiful. And I mean, I love the combination of everything you have in it. Everything from discus all the way down to Bosemani rainbows.
Oh, I also forgot about those 3 electric blue cars in there from you as well.
Yeah.
I apologize for interrupting you.
That I couldn't get to breed for the life of me, and as soon as they got in your tank, they decided to go ahead and lay eggs all over the place. Of course, they ate them all, but
yeah, that did happen, but they definitely did lay a very large fledge.
Yeah, I just want to take a second. I got my little silver dollar in here. Since I only have one of them, he's decided he's going to pal up with the filament barbs.
Yeah.
So he thinks he's a filament barb now.
Hey, he's got to school with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You fit in where you can.
It's funny because when I first wow, I can't talk. When I first put him in there, they didn't want nothing to do with him. They were chasing him off, and then all of a sudden, within like an hour, he was just back and forth with him.
Yeah, right.
Zen Eddie does not have a channel yet, but he will, I'm sure. Me and him have been talking about it. So
yeah, definitely either joining up with Furlough Aquatics myself, or
you can still make your own channel, man. You don't have to just join up with me.
Very true. But still also exactly trying to sort out how to do mine. It would be a really good time. I still have projects as well that I've been working with Eric on behind the scenes that we're trying to work through, because I've got a couple tanks that I'm trying to put back together that are basically full rebuilds, and they're very large, 9 foot, 7 foot, stuff like that, big systems. There's another.
That's the 280, isn't it?
There's a 9 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot, 280. Yeah. Had somebody decide to drop a 60-pound concrete yard decoration into the bottom of it. And
That was some kids, wasn't it?
yeah, it was some young kids.
I could say some things, but I won't.
I came home that day and definitely said a few.
I bet. Hello, Miss Sandy. Thank you. It's good to see. It's so good to be back. So good to see everybody. I'm glad to have Eddie with me. We've been talking about this for a while, kind of beating up, going over some ideas, and finally, the other day I was like, let's just do a live stream. Let's just like throw ourselves back into it. Forget like crawling before you walk. Let's just throw ourselves like a sack of potatoes back into it.
I dived in head to feet first, or feet to head first, straight on in, no hesitation. That's for sure.
Oh, Whippy, what's Whippy doing? Calling himself Sasquatch? Yeah.
I think I said something like that in the beginning. I mean,
oh boy, but yeah,
it fits him. He's very tall.
Yeah, he's another awesome dude. Like first time meeting him was when we went to North Carolina a few weeks ago, and I mean, couldn't ask for a cooler dude, man.
That's a fact. Ran all the way to what was it, Elizabeth City for us, and grabbed us some prime. Mm-hmm. So we add it to the Beischer. You forgot it back in Florida.
Whip saved the day because we left out so quick early that Friday morning, and I forgot the prime. Yeah. So again, thank you, Whip, for saving the day. You are the man. Yeah, I know, like some of the ideas you and me were talking about, what you were just talking about, like fixing up the tanks, like resealing them. So I mean, we're gonna have some videos like that coming out. I guess you could call them like DIY kind of stuff. But
oh yeah, you find a great deal on something, but it's not necessarily still holding water. You want to get it fixed, or you've had that tank that you loved for so long, but it sprung that leak on you, but you couldn't get rid of it, and you want to know what's the next step. You've seen some videos, you've had some questions, but maybe somebody putting something out a little different wording, maybe showing a little bit different of the footage, can actually give you that greater experience to try to jump into that and get that figured out.
Yeah, I like that. Zenny. So instead of you go from crawling to hand gliding, that feels like a jump. Yep, pretty much. Why not? YOLO. People even still say that anymore. YOLO.
I mean, we do only live once. That is a fact.
I know you're already there, Whip, but I still appreciate it because you saved me a trip
and some concern.
And you wouldn't let me pay for it, even though it was only like $8. You wouldn't let me pay for it, so I was going to pay you for it and gas because gas ain't cheap. I was ready to hand you a $20 bill, but you wouldn't let me pay for it. So, so you worked at the shop yesterday.
I did. I was at our wonderful local mom and pop shop here in town. Got to have a nice 9-hour day. It's pretty good. A lot of families came in. That's one of the fun things on a Saturday.
It is busy on Saturdays.
It is a very, very busy store on Saturdays.
I help out there from time to time, and it's usually on Saturdays, and it's just like you get to the point where like the freshwater section, you're trying to walk through with like a specimen container of fish. Like, excuse me, I don't want to spill this on you. Like, move.
And you still bump into 3 people.
Or somebody's kid like runs right into you,
Right into your leg and grabs a hold of it as you're trying to walk by. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely one thing that happens on those Saturdays when I get to not be in the store. You're the one that has to come in and take care of the wrath.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you go out of town, I usually cover for you.
Yeah. But
I
it's
just
a
thought it was.
great.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead, Ray.
Oh, I was gonna say it's a really nice store. It's always a great opportunity getting to talk to people about the new tank that they're trying to set up, the beginners that are coming in. You also have those people that, they come in and they're like, I've been doing this for longer than you've been alive. And you get to talk to them about something. And they're like, oh, I didn't know that. I'm capable of doing that. Those are good times. It keeps you humble at the same time, but it also lets you know that you're really doing your due diligence for your customers.
Oh, sorry. Withrow just texted me and said, or an 80s He-Man. Talking about himself.
Yes.
Oh my God, that guy's a nut. But yeah, it's fun working at the store. I mean, I don't get to very often because, especially here lately, I mean, the whole reason why you guys haven't seen me on YouTube in a while is because I've been busy with my real world job, and so finally things are starting to calm down a little bit. We're still getting work coming in, but things are starting to calm down where I don't want to just come home and go straight to sleep. So, what up, Kenny? How you doing, brother? And anyways, yeah, I've been so busy with work, I just haven't been able to. Something had to get put on the back burner, and it had to be YouTube, but not anymore. So, and then I've always been sitting there thinking, like, what else can I add to the channel? And, oh, wrong way. There you go. I can add a buddy of mine that knows a heck of a lot more than me, and we can do this thing together.
Most definitely.
So.
It's a pleasure to get to know the knowledge that I have and to still learn. Even being in the hobby as long as I have, there's still fish that I see that I've never seen before. That's one of the other really cool things about the store is we get those very unique, specialized fish. You see some videos on YouTube about, but you never get to like walk up and physically see them. And then when you do, it's such a shocker when it's under the proper lighting. When you have multiple different colors of substrate to choose from, and it's natural substrate, not the blues and purple rocks and things like that, but a natural gravel or sand bed.
Not the fruity. I call them the fruity pebble.
Right.
Fruity pebble substrate.
It's a glowfish tank gravel, but in a natural tank doesn't always work. But there's a time and a place for everything, and yeah, in our tanks, that's not. It's not.
I'm not gonna lie. When I was like 5 years old, when I had my first aquarium, I had the rainbow colored gravel in there. Can't deny it, man. That stuff was rad back in the day.
All the colors. Till it sits in the tank for 5 years and you gravel backed it all the times, and now you've got the natural color of whatever stone is underneath the painted rock.
Yep. It's just like this tank behind me. I got black gravel in there. I'm gonna have to change it out soon because some of the rocks are starting to turn white. And I think I'm gonna go with a different color completely. Now I had black in there because I had my Africans in there. But now, like with all these guys, I think I want to go with something more natural colored.
Yeah, I would go with one of those maybe like a dime size to nickel size river rock bottom. I think it would look kind of neat.
And I'm really like my other tank, my Oscar tank. I'm thinking about getting rid of the sand in there because it's a pain in the to gravel back. I hate gravel backing sand.
You've got to have a hose kinked in your hand the whole time while you got the other hand going through, sucking up what you can.
Well, it doesn't help that 13-inch common pleco in there as I'm doing a water change lets out like a 12-inch turd. You know?
No, those guys don't do that, do they?
I really wanted to sit in front of that tank, but like I said, I was telling you before that all the light coming in the windows was just like looks like a ghost on the screen.
Oh, no.
Well, let's see. What is Ms. Zenny? I kept fish for 2 decades ago. When I got back into the hobby and started learning about the cycle, I realized I probably killed a lot of fish by bleaching my filters every time I cleaned. You know what? You know how many other people have done that?
All of us.
Mm-hmm.
We all do that from time to time.
Well, you know, back like not to say that you and me are old, but you know, back when we first started keeping fish, YouTube wasn't around. So we either had to go to the fish store and ask, or just try to figure it out ourselves. And me being the stubborn person that I am, I would just try to figure it out myself. And it's like, well, the filter's dirty, so I'm just going to take it out and just run it under tap water,
Right?
clean everything out.
Yeah, because what's it going to hurt? I mean, the water's safe for us to drink, so it shouldn't hurt the filter for our fish tank.
And then when my wife's parents had a aquarium, they would be doing the bleaching thing, and I kept telling them to stop. And they stopped eventually, but they fought me on it.
Right?
Because for the last little while, me and Dory were maintaining it for them. So, and they're like, "Aren't you gonna bleach the filter pads and the decorations?" Like, no, no. Why not? Because let me show you a trick. Something way easier than bleaching it.
Yeah.
It's called, take this filter cartridge and you throw it in the trash. And then you put a new one in there.
That
For it, because they had hang-on backs, you know.
right. That's one of the tough things with some of those, hang on the backs that have just that slide-in cartridge, where you either have to eventually either DIY yourself something for that one, or you get one of those other hang on the backs that has that 3-stage to 4-stage filtration.
Yeah, that's what I did before. I mean, the only hang-on backs I have now are two of the tidal filters.
My personal opinion, that's some of the best ones on the market.
I think they are the best ones in the market. Because I've had everything from Marineland to Aqueon to the Aqua Top to what's the Fluval brand? It's not Fluval brand, is it?
Aqua Clear.
Yes, Aqua Clear. Though I love Fluval to death, but those Aqua Clears, that's the first filter I ever came close to like just throwing across my yard. Because like if you don't, after a while, the slot where the top goes on warps for some reason, and the lid doesn't go on all the way, and all you hear is. So eventually, I just took the stupid top off. And, I am a canister guy, Zen. I love Fluval FX6s and FX4s.
Most definitely.
And I have yet to do a slump. I want to do one eventually. I used to be deathly afraid of them just because I don't want to flood my whole entire house. Now they make things like, overflow sensors and stuff like that. So maybe, when I get some extra money, I'll try one. But I'll stick with my FX series filters. What about you, Eddie? How do you feel about sumps?
I'm still scared, even though I play with them at work. At the house, I don't know. I'm hesitant. I know how to work on them. I've done it. I've worked on many different ones. But I'm not lazy on my maintenance, but I'm lackadaisy because all my systems are so well balanced that I don't have to get in there so frequently. So the fact of having something happen and having the backflow happen and flooding the room or something like that, it's a concern because I've definitely had that happen on the even on a canister, or a hang on the back before.
I was gonna say I've had a canister flood my fish room one time. It was a sun. It's the reason why I don't have suns anymore. Stephen P, what's up, man? Long time no see. But yeah, Zen said she has marine land canisters. Let the hate begin. I don't have a problem with marine land, honestly. Like the canisters, the hang on backs I don't like, but the canisters, those old Magnum 350s, I think they were. Those things are awesome.
I have one, and I do have issues with the O-ring when I go to put it back together, but the output that it puts and the amount that you can put in its baskets,
Oh, yes.
it's a good filter as long as you can keep it to stay sealed for you.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Kenny. FX products for me.
Yeah, fluval canisters all the way. I mean, I still have a 304 operating with,
Nice.
with no problem.
A 304.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
I got one of those with one of the tanks I bought secondhand. I don't have it anymore. I think I sold it.
It's still running, and I know Fluval's on the 7 series now, but it's
I
haven't had to do.
want to know if they're going to come out with an FX7 or like an FX8 or something.
Right. Yeah.
I'm curious to see what they're going to do to it. If they're going to make it even bigger than what it is now, because it's pretty much a 5-gallon bucket right now. You know.
Yeah. So you think they'd go from 6 stages of media to
like 8 or 7 or
eight or 10, I would say, and then same thing. Bump it up from the 900, box rated 950 gallon per hour system to bump it up to like a 1,500 gallon, per hour flow put. So then instead of it rated for a 400 gallon tank, it could be rated for, upwards of an 800 gallon system.
Yeah. The only problem I've ever had with an FX6 is that one that I was going to give to you is just they get those micro bubbles, and I could not figure it out. Like, it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't hurt the tank, but for somebody like me, it drives me absolutely insane. I want my water to be crystal clear. I want bubbles in it. I don't want nothing floating around in it.
Straight.
I picked the wrong type of fish to keep for that. But South American cichlids and bikers.
They don't kick up a lot of debris when they move around.
No, not my Oscars, who every time they move, it's just like.
I'm trying to read the comments.
Chili Head, how's it going, man? Yeah, if you want to pay attention to the comments, if you see anything interesting or whatever, I'm gonna keep talking here. We're talking about filtration. That's right. I know in some of the videos that we're going to be doing together, like we went over that list of like a bunch of top 5 stuff and a bunch of aquarium hacks. We're going to be having some aquarium hack videos coming out. Just all kind of stuff, man. It's nice to have 2 heads, to kind of put our heads together and figure things out rather than just sitting there, because I know a lot of people like have 3, 4, 5 weeks of videos, and eventually I want to get to that point. But right now it's just kind of like flying by the seat of my pants, and I want to not have to do that, So yeah, it's just a bunch of people saying hi to each other. Thunder Aquatics.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Anybody got any questions for Eddie or me? You guys, most of you guys know me, so. But I mean, we're here. It's Sunday. It's 2:30 in the afternoon. Let's talk about some fish. Let's talk about anything you want.
I was gonna say let's talk about that 280 we mentioned. So
Let's talk about it then.
so we've got it's a 280 gallon tank. As I was saying, it's 9 feet long. It's 2 feet front to back and 2 feet tall. It's half-inch thick. It's the old school where it's just the trim glued onto it, and the tank's its actual frame. So
Does it have just one bar going across, or does it have multiple?
it's got multiple glass dividers going across the top. So it's got I believe it's three or two 2 foot openings and then one 1 foot opening, and then that other area is where the glass panels are that are keeping it together. And but the bottom panel, it had two weirs. It's got one on each end of the tank. Something I've thought about either, just completely obsoleting, or with this new pane of glass that I have, actually redrilling the holes to have it to be able to run a sump if I wanted to. I personally feel like 3 FX6s on that, all blowing the same direction and just giving it a nice circulation, should do perfectly fine on that tank.
For sure.
But going back to the glass section, we're basically going to have to go ahead and remove all of the silicone and everything out of that, flip it over, pop that bottom piece off that's been broken into multiple sections, get all that cleaned up, and then be ready to rebond the new piece of glass to it. That'll be a really good experience. And then
I was going to say, let me know when you do that. I want to help you with it, because I've never resealed a tank before, and I want to learn how.
Most definitely. And I think that's where I want to move the Oscars to if I don't set up something else, because they're in the 150 tall, so it's a 4 foot by 2 foot by 32 inch.
Right.
I believe Whip has one of those as well. I remember discussing with them the other day. And it's a really nice tank for the Oscars as well, but I think if I gave them more area to go back and forth, as you see with your guys in their 6 foot tank, they like that room to move around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for the most part, they stay on one side, but every now and then I'll catch them going over to where the Starry Night has his little area harassing him. So
Right.
They don't hurt each other, but they don't like each other. Because my Starry Night, it's funny because like they go through growth spurts. Like my Oscars will grow, and my Starry Night will be smaller than them. Then all of a sudden, my Starry Night will go through a growth spurt and be the same size or bigger. And it's like every week one of them is bigger than the other.
And that fish has gotten really, really big since October.
Yeah.
When you were in the store the other day, I showed you one that's still there, and the size that it is,
it's like that big
compared to the size that you have in your tank.
Mine is bigger than my hand. Like,
And this guy's the size of your silver dollar. It's, less than the size of a silver dollar.
I sent a picture of it to Amber last night, and she was like, "Oh my god." I was like, just to let you know that, I sent her the Oscars and the Starry Night. I was like, just to let you know that all the fish I get from you are thriving and doing well.
Yes, most definitely.
I'm really starting to think I have my Oscars are a pair though, because one's slightly bigger than the other. They keep like trying to mouth wrestle. So
Nice.
I doubt very much if they laid eggs, I doubt very much they'd survive, because I've got Congo tetras in there. The Starry Night probably wouldn't leave them alone. The ornate biker would probably try to eat them too.
Okay. Anybody that could get over there to wherever they lay them at, if you've got a flat piece of rock, or if they blow all the sand out of the section where they can go straight to the glass, they're gonna lay a clutch.
My little Royal Acaras that I have in there, which aren't really little anymore, they'll probably have a go at them too.
Yeah. And then let's see here. The other one that we have that I know I want to work on. It's a 240, but it's the same dimension or the same dimensions minus. It's a 7 foot instead of 9 foot, so it's 7 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot, all glass tank. Now this one is completely sealed. It was never drilled. Um, so, but there's nothing busted on it. It's just going to be a cut out the silicone. It's holding water right now, just rainwater. But the silicone's really old. The person I got it from said it's been sitting in their garage for 3 years without anything done to it. So like getting the silicone cut out of that and resealing into that, then I don't have anywhere for that one either. So that's going to be a whole nother experience when I get that done.
So I mean, I've watched videos of like people resealing stuff before, but like when you reseal a tank, like that's occupied. Like obviously, like I'm not stupid. Like obviously, you can't do it with the fish in there. But what do you do with the fish when, like, you just put them in tubs, like until you're done, or do you have another tank set up? Or
When I did the 55, yeah, I did. What water didn't get spilled all over the parquet wood floors that I have. I got put into Rubbermaid tubs. That was back when I was still running hang on the backs. The ones that I had were the Aqua Clears, so they didn't want to reprime once I put them on the Rubbermaid tub and not on the fish tank because they weren't properly at a 90-degree angle, so it was making it difficult with that pump being out of the water versus a pump being in the water where it would just pull it right in. But got it to operate, didn't lose any of those African cichlids, got the tank resealed, and of course you still have to wait because you got to let the silicone cure, and then if you want to water test it, I mean you're sitting there for 5 to 7 days with a fish in a Rubbermaid tub.
yeah. Yeah, I know. Me and you have talked about that a few times with about Starry Night being your bucket list. It was one for me too. And I just happened to get lucky at my local fish store. Got a whole bunch of little juveniles in, and I really didn't want a juvenile because I'm impatient and I don't like to wait for things to grow. But I was just like, you know what, the heck with it. And literally just to show you how fast they grow. I bought that fish in October. It is now June, and it's probably pushing 8 to 9 inches, I would say.
Yeah.
And then we got a question from Miss Zen Ginger.
Yeah, she was asking what was our biggest fish, so that was kind of what.
I'm gonna let you take that one because you got bigger fish than I do.
Okay, so the biggest fish in my system right now is about a 25 to 26 inch clown knife that I rescued from a person about 4 hours away from here. He said he was around 15 years old and that his name was Charlie. It's a pretty cool fish. And then another big fish that I rescued that's in that tank with him is around a 20-inch mono peacock bass. When I got him, it had a hole in the head and some other things, and just wasn't wanting to eat. If it ate, it only ate live animals or live fish, not animals. And I've got it to where now I can get it to eat the monster extreme pellets with no problem. Then, otherwise it's 15 inch or under Oscars. That same tank with those Oscars, there's about a 10-inch clown knife. Yeah, those are probably the biggest fish I have.
Mine aren't quite that big. I've got 2 Oscars that are both pushing probably about 10 inches. Again, I got those right around the same time. I got like a little bit before I got the Starry Night, I think. And less than a year, and they're already just about 10 inches.
Yeah, and they're pretty.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Like I just had I didn't pick them out or anything. I just had Amber from our local store order them for me, and just 2 random Oscars, and I've had Oscars before, but those are the 2 prettiest ones I've ever had.
Yeah, they were showing off their color yesterday when you did that water change too.
Yeah, Yeah, they were both, happy and pissed off at the same time because they don't like water changes. They lay on the. I was surprised they were swimming around. They usually lay down out on the bottom. But then my Starry Night, he's just a little bit smaller than them right now. And I have two ornate bikers, one of which is about a foot long, and the other one's probably 15 inches long. And then the rest of my stuff's kind of small. I've got these two parrots behind me that I've had. These guys right here, I've had them since they were babies. I mean, they're probably about as big as my hand. But like I said, nothing as big as Eddie, but
We're still talking about fish, right?
Huh?
Nothing.
Oh my God! Wow. I'm done with you. Stream over.
Oh, stream over.
Stream over.
I'm a large person. Wasn't mean that way.
This is why.
I
This is why I brought him out here. He brings some.
I have a no filter sense of humor from time to time.
And Anthony's fishy friends says, "Yo, everyone! I had a 2-foot, guessing that's clown knife for 5-6 days. I rescued from Petco that someone dumped there. They didn't accept it. Worked diligently to find a proper home. Ended up in a 500-gallon. That's best case scenario right there.
That's awesome, Anthony.
Yeah, they wouldn't have a tank to fit that thing there at Petco. I would doubt it. I mean,
Yeah, I couldn't imagine where Petco had anything that they could house that comfortably.
yeah, that's why I love Oscars, and it's just watching them out whenever they don't get their way, or if you give them the wrong food. Like I have the pickiest Oscars in the world. They only eat off the top. They will not eat anything off the bottom. I mean, they try to eat everybody else's food. Like they only want to eat other stuff than their food is when it's for somebody else. Like when I throw the carnivore pellets in for my bikers, I have to literally like do a magic trick and like trick them over here to drop them in there. Sometimes it doesn't work, and they'll just like completely dive into the plant where the biker hangs out, and just, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Hey, Whip mentioned his arowana. Is that guy still doing good? I remember at the beginning of May you were saying he was having issues.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because he tried to jump out or something.
Right.
He cracked his head on the top of the tank. Yeah, how's he doing, Whip? I would love an arowana. I don't have a tank big enough for one right now.
I want another.
I already have enough anxiety with my bikers worrying about them trying to jump out, but
right.
Because they're jumpers just like arowanas are. But
yeah, and I want to get it as a baby, and grow it out. And that way I can actually see the full term, make sure it has both of its barbells, keep it from not getting drop eye, give it enough space to where it can keep growing out to the next stages. I mean, we know that I still have other large tanks that we haven't even talked about yet.
Well, go ahead. We got about 15 minutes left, so.
Hey, she's still hanging in there, he said. But yeah, exactly like you're saying. So there's a 450-gallon acrylic. It's been a dream tank to get set up, and I've procrastinated on it for a couple of years now, because I want to run a sump on that, and I don't want to just run something basic that you can buy. I want to go ahead and modify a large tank and get it set up with the staging and filtration that I can use to properly operate that tank. If I do it with the system I want to, I actually want to set up where there's plants and everything in the sump with some aquarium mud to actually be that natural like fog filter.
Oh, Carrie's in here, Science Gal.
All right, Science Gal Aquariums or aquatics. Yeah.
Hey, Carrie. She's another one of the coolest people I've ever met. She's helped me out so much at Aquashella. Like, because I first time I went, I didn't know what to do. Like, I'm a YouTuber, but I was like, where do I go? And she helped me out a lot. She's awesome. Her and Jesse, they're some cool people. She made sure I had a name placard at the roll call desk and all that stuff. So she's cool. I love Carrie. And you'll get to meet her when you go to, because you're going to go to Aquashella with me. So
yeah, Orlando, right?
You'll get to meet a lot of people there. It's like one of the coolest places I've ever been. Never thought I'd say that, being a place that has like 5,000 people walking around it at one time, because I don't like being around that many people. But right people around, right environment. It's pretty cool. Oh yeah, that one's for you, Eddie.
Yeah, exactly. That's the seamless sumps is the only other route that I would think about going. There's in just because even looking at his, those were amazing systems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hooking up John's, that was like, I was afraid to touch him at first because I was like, I don't want to step on his toes. I don't want to break nothing, because I have a habit of breaking things. Like I have what I call Hulk hands. Like sometimes everything I touch just like breaks.
Yeah, and it was what, 1 a.m. Y'all were on y'all's 4th trip to the barn from the fish room.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I'm not walking this trip, guys. And by the time I come back, all y'all hear is the heat gun going and me just sticking tubes onto the tanks.
Mm-hmm. And finally, after it was like one of the last tanks we were working on, I was like, all right, let me get my hands in there. So I got the heat gun and got a hose ready to hook up to one of I think it was the African tank. But
Yep.
Whips, I was intimidated to say hi to everybody at Aquashella the first time I went. I was like, I don't want to go up there and be a dork and like fanboy and be like, hi, But again, I don't want to act like these people don't mean anything to me. It's like just one of them things. Like when you meet people you watch on YouTube for the first time, it's like you don't want to geek out too much, but you don't want to act like you don't care either.
Yes, that's exactly what that Saturday was like.
Like the first time I met John, like I think like I met him, like we talked for a minute and then I went away, and I think the rest of the time I might have said like 3 words to him at the first Aquashella I went to, because I was like, I don't want to like bother this guy,
Right.
But it's totally like meeting these people, that is not the case. Like I can tell you, all the people I've met at Aquashella, they'll sit there and talk to you for hours and hours and hours, and it's one of the best things I've ever been to.
I have not got to experience any form of a like fish a con, I guess you would call it, before, and that's definitely something I'm looking forward to getting to do. And those aquashellas look amazing.
Oh, they're cool. Like I'm telling you, once you go to one, man, you'll want to go to every single one.
Go to Dallas, go to Chicago, and go to Orlando, huh?
I'd love to go to those two, but that's just right now. It's just far away from me. So.
Yeah. But this is a wonderful hobby to be in. I know that for a fact. You could get really stressed out with something and come home and look at your tanks, and you're just like, and
either come home and just look at it, or come home and get your hands in it. And like me personally, like getting my hands in it, like that makes me forget about everything.
yeah. Because then you're definitely in your happy place. That's for sure. Getting to
Just like
rescape or rearrange.
I've had like these last few weeks have been real tough for me just because I've been working so much. I haven't been able to like spend a lot of time with my aquariums. And luckily, like you were saying before, like you keep up on your maintenance and you keep everything balanced out. So if you got to let it go like an extra week or whatever, it's not detrimental. I still don't like it, but and that's what I kind of had to do. And then finally, like I just kept, I'm one of those people that talks to my animals. So I just like kept apologizing to my fish as I was doing water changes.
Most
Like
definitely.
I'm sorry, guys. I have to go out and make money so I can feed you since you're all growing into monsters.
That, and I mean, let's not mention our power company changing and how much our
Oh
hobby.
my God, that'll our new power company. That'll make you want to take a shot of bleach looking at the bill. I mean,
Yes,
good lord.
it's real bad right now.
Florida Power and Light. I don't like you guys.
Not at all.
Not
Give
one
us
bit.
full power back.
Especially since like it was about a month ago. I was outside my house in the backyard. I heard this big old boom. I thought somebody fired a gun in my neighborhood. One of their idiot employees blew a transformer like right next door to me because the transformer's like right in front of the house next door to me. And then all the power went off for like 6 hours. Of course, I got reptiles, I got fish, I got all this crap. I was like getting ready to pull the generator out because I had my battery powered stuff out because I didn't know how long. I didn't want to pull the generator out if it was going to be out for like an hour or so.
Right.
But then I was just getting to pull the generator out and get it cranked up, and then the power came back on.
Yeah. That's not all of what we're doing.
But anyways, enough about those idiots. That's right.
One,
I forgot you bought property in Tennessee with us, man. You and John. I am jealous of both you and John. You guys, I'm gonna live vicariously through you guys because one day I will have 5 to 10 acres of property with some buildings on it for all my fish and all my reptiles. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I'm just a little bit jealous. Yeah. What were you gonna say, Eddie?
Oh, I'm agreeing with that most definitely. And that's right. He did say he had some land closer to us. Um,
Well, it just means you might have to make a trip down here with. You might have to start coming to the Orlando. You might have to start coming to the Orlando Aquashella if you move closer.
that's the plan. He said. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But always wanting to do something different with the tanks too. I definitely have a passion for the fish that I do keep, but I'm always willing to learn new things as well. I need to get back into doing smaller systems. At the same time, I don't want to get rid of any of my large systems.
Yeah.
I like the big tanks. They give you room for error. For one thing.
Yeah.
I will say they also teach you lessons.
Oh yeah.
Dissolved oxygen is a very big thing
Mm-hmm.
to worry about in a tank. And when you have a tank that's over 2 feet tall, it's very important that you have enough dissolved oxygen in that water for your fish to be able to do what they need to do. I had to learn that hard way
Yeah.
about a month and a half ago now.
That's why I like my 120, which I mean it's a lot smaller than your 150, but my 120, that 4x2x2, I had a big FX6 on that, and I had I think 2 or 3 sponge filters in there, just like constantly going because it was so tall and it's hard to get oxygen in there. And then I actually bought one of them Sea Chase Sharks from KD Tropicals and put it in there, and those things are nice. I hated the suction cups on them, but apparently the Shark Probes has magnets instead of suction cups. So
I was watching it earlier.
these companies are finally getting smarter and doing away with suction cups. I hate suction cups.
In aquariums and in terrariums because they don't hold in either place.
Oh yeah, I was watching my one of my beardies the other day. She was up on her hammock, and then all of a sudden you hear thud, and she's looking at me like, "What the heck, bro?"
Oh man,
Eddie, we need to get you with some reptiles, man. Your mom won't let them in the house, will she?
Correct. I will be evicted if I bring in a reptile.
Just tell your baby. Just tell your baby you're doing me a favor and babysitting it for me. She might let you.
My mom loves you. You're correct about that. That might work.
Tell her if she lets you get a reptile, I'll go drive around and find her anything she wants. Like you did that one night.
Every article she finds at a thrift store will willingly pick it up.
Tell her to call me, and I will go pick it up, and I will deliver it to your house.
She loves that bench. She's redecorated it. We haven't painted it yet, but she's definitely redecorated it with her pillows and things. That was an awesome day doing that.
Yeah, that was when you introduced me to Derek too, wasn't it? When we moved your 180, I think it was.
The 150, yeah.
The 150.
We didn't talk about that one either. The 5 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot.
All right, so we got about 4 minutes left. I don't want to. I think Brienne comes on next. Brienne's Fish Fam. I don't want to step on her toes.
Okay.
So I'm gonna turn it over to the chat. If anybody's got any last minute questions, go ahead and put them on. Comments, concerns, whatever. And then you and me, we can just talk for the next 3 minutes. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Well.
Suction cups. Oh, lucky this is a PG rated channel. Because our car ride to North Carolina there and back, there were some words said.
Yes, things were discussed that will not be discussed on camera.
Yeah, most of it was other drivers that were driving on the same roads as us.
And you drove way more than I did, but even the 3 hours that I drove, I was like, what is going on?
It's the only thing I hate about traveling. And then unfortunately for me, I got home that Monday and had to turn around and leave again that Tuesday because my grandpa passed away.
Yeah.
So and then I had to fly up to New York, which that was a barrel of monkeys going through Atlanta. But
right.
Even though, because that's the airport I didn't want to go through, but every other ticket I clicked on to pay for, as soon as I clicked on to pay for it, it was like, oh, sorry, gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. That was a tough week for you. I know.
So Luke wants to know channel collaboration goals. Honestly, Whip, I mean, me and Eddie, like outside of the channel, talk so much about so many things. Like I said, there's going to be some DIY videos. There's going to be some resealing aquarium videos. There's going to be top 5, aquarium hack type videos, that kind of stuff. So just, I mean, we're pretty much we're not really limiting ourselves to any one thing, honestly. I mean, we're just trying to share our knowledge out there and just kind of do what we do,
Most definitely. I'd like to talk to the owners of the store and see if there's a way that we could bring in Furlough Aquatics in one day and do a nice walkthrough discussing the tanks and everything and kind of just giving people a rundown of what a nice locally owned, personally operated business can.
It's a beautiful store. I mean, because like the only other stores we have around here are chain stores. Like we have Petland. We're not even going to go there.
No.
We have Pet Supermarket, which it's a nice store, but their fish department just like no.
Yeah.
And then we have Pet Smart out in Destin, which I mean, The last time I went out there, it used to be good, but the last time I went out there was like piles of food in each aquarium, and like the water was like tinted yellow, and I mean, I could go on for hours on stuff that I found in there, but I won't.
Right.
Yeah, aquarium maintenance. I mean, I've done at least 1 or 2 videos on on my channel about that, but I'm sure Eddie's got different practices than me, so we can get some of his ideas.
Yeah. Even
if there's anything you guys want to see, I mean, let us know. I mean, we'll be. Hey, Steph, long time no see. Yeah, we're about to sign off of here anyway, Steph. So you didn't miss much. But anyways, so it is 3:00, so I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down.
Righty.
I'm really glad you're doing this with me, brother.
I'm super excited. I don't know if I've been able to smile the whole time on the camera because
I mean, you couldn't. Honestly, you couldn't knock the smile off your face.
All right.
But now, I appreciate everybody coming in. I want to try to. I mean, how do you feel about doing this every Sunday?
Yeah, if we could get this on a weekly something, that would be awesome. Yeah. Sunday is one of the better days for me for sure.
It's better for me too, because I usually do all my other stuff on Saturday, all my maintenance and stuff. But yeah, I'd like to keep doing this every Sunday, 2:00. I mean, this time seemed to be good. We're not really. I don't think we stepped on anybody's toes, But,
right.
Because there's a lot of people that go on Sunday, but it's not till later. But yeah, Whips, thank you very much. Carrie, thanks for coming in. I really appreciate everybody, and I am going to go ahead and shut it down. And
Bye, guys.
Yeah, hang out after when I hit end broadcast.